Okay, I have stolen something from you, but now I get to see exactly how you did it. And instead of just making up in my head how it was done, is the PMix.
Okay.
So it's parallel compression, which a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But it's on the whole mix.
It's on the mix minus the drums.
Oh.
So
see, I already screwed up then.
Well, I mean, what different strokes. So there's I've routed, and this is something I've changed. So we're looking at a little bit of an older show file here, but I've routed all the drums to a drum subgroup.
Yep.
On which there's very little happening. There's a little bit of compression and a slight amount of EQ. And then I've routed all the drums to a second subgroup, which has got a substantial amount of compression on it and a substantial amount of EQ. And I think this is a trick that sort of goes back to like the 70s or something. People started doing that. Somewhere along the line, I heard somebody talking about doing a parallel mix compression bus. And what they had done was taken, and I wish I could credit them, I can't remember who it was, but they had done is taken everything but the drums, all the rest of it, dropped it to a bus, and then made a parallel bus of that, and done the same thing to everything else. And this is a thing I found, it's another like sort of subtle but effective thing, but live it's, a little goes a long way, and it's definitely the kind of thing that can drive your feedback threshold down.
Because the vocal's in it.
Because the vocal's in it, which you might try doing without the vocal. I mean, that could be an interesting thing.
So I did just the band, no vocal is what I tried.
Sure, and I could totally see that being a way to go, too.
Well, I was going to crap my pants putting that vocal in there and seeing that reduction meter just pegged.
And that's the thing where it's like, well, you are driving the gain up, but not changing the feedback threshold. So you need to be careful, and maybe it's just safer to do it without the vocal, because I think it would have a lot of the same effect. It has a way of having the little elements of the mix kind of bounce forward in the mix, like so some smaller elements, little keyboard elements or smaller percussion elements. But I think, and so maybe, leave the vocal out.
Yeah.
I would say also, just while we're on the topic, I did this in subgroups. I've moved towards using auxes for this.
Okay.
For a very specific reason, especially with drums, because I'll bus all the drums to a stereo subgroup, and I treat it the same way.
Yeah.
And I have the parallel drum bus, and then just route those two auxes straight to left and right from there. Do the same thing as though they were groups. But what I found was, especially on drums again, that first of all, just to be effective, I think you really have to smash that parallel drum bus. And I think a lot of people are a little timid about it, and we can listen to it for a minute. But what I found was that I like snare to be hot, and especially in pop or rock mixes. And I was finding that the snare was sort of over, like hitting the compressor too hard on the parallel bus. But if I'm using an aux, I can just pull the snare down in that bus and leave it the same place in the drum bus.
I'm seeing all these levels variable there. That's what that is?
Right.
Yeah.
So again, this is an old file, so we're looking at groups. So if I had a newer file up, so you're actually just seeing how those are the fader levels of everything that's going into that group.
Got it.
So if it was an aux, you would see sort of the same thing, but you could change
less snare
going into the parallel drum bus than in the plain drum bus. But if I could play a little back of this part where the drummer's really wailing, and we'll solo it up. I'll just loop this. And so that's the drums with basically untouched. I mean, I have a little soft compression on it maybe. But here's the parallel drum bus.
Yeah, really working.
And pumping a little bit. What I think people have a way of kind of, you hear it like open up there, right? And shut back down.
Yeah.
But I think people have a way of kind of not really giving that the.
Can you see? Yeah,
what
let's
is
see
it doing here? I mean, that's crushing. That might even be overdoing it a little bit. But this is like a song.
No, don't look at it.
Don't look at it. That's right. But if you solo that drum bus up, and then let's pull that down. So we're listening to both. Oh, I didn't loop it. Sorry. So that's just the regular drums. So it feels, you just bring this up, right around in here, you start to hear some of the little tambourine hits and stuff sort of start to pop out.
Yep.
And it's sort of typical to have.
Just mute it, turn it off there. Well, I heard it. Yeah.
So, here's the mix of everything else. There's the parallel mix.
Oh, yeah.
So, you hear how the things are popping in and out. Now, on its own, it's dreadful.
Yeah.
But we do the same thing. You start to hear the elements. So
The low mid, it's like you got more presence out of that, I felt like.
right, well, because the little breathier things start to bubble up from underneath.
Right.
Now, again, dangerous with the vocals in it because you're raising that gain. But you're changing the relationship to gain and feedback there, right? And not in a good way.
Right.
So might not work
Yeah.
for you. But I do think when you put it all together, you can hear it, again, subtle, but
Totally. Oh. It made the mix better. I mean,
right.
You know.
So, and it depends like what's going on with instrumentation. This thing tends to be little hits need to kind of pop out, and I mean I could totally see like if you're living on the edge, don't put the vocal in it. Like
Right.
maybe it's just stupid. I work with these guys, and again I have a lot of like those background vocals are programmed, so they come down when they're not singing. So maybe that helped make it work. But I mean again, you look at what's going on that's the P mix. I mean,
20 dB.
You're killing the thing.
And you're in limit. I mean, it's 20 to 1.
Yeah,
So
it's crushing it. And I think that's something that when you're doing this parallel bus mix, I think people sort of have a tendency to go a little too nice with it. Like you really want it to pump and open up in between hits.
Yep. So is this buried on another layer? Or are you babysitting this?
That goes away. I get set. That's another one of those things I don't want to have. I don't want to have it in case because if I rode that up and I didn't get it right, it'd be it's living on the edge.
Right, but you're mixing the song and it's somewhere else though.
It's somewhere else. Yeah.
That's also scary to me.
Well,
but you've been doing it a while, I guess. You know if it's going to take off or not.
Well, again, those things come out when they're not singing.
That's true.
And I would say, like, I brought it up quite a bit there. I probably would not have it that loud.
Yeah.
Like, it's a real subtle sort of thing that a little goes a long way. Like if it's 10 or 12 dB down below the rest of the mix, then it's probably doing that little thing you needed to do without getting into too much trouble.
Cool.
Yeah.